I'm Shali Zamarodi.
Hi, I'm Ben Aaron here with Brad Pomerantz and Steve Peasley, our financial Prozac.
I like that.
You got some splaining to do, buddy.
Yeah, man.
What would you like me to explain?
You wake up yesterday and your jaw hits the floor. Today it's a little better. But
Up
tell
about
us,
260 or so right now.
why do you think the House turned down the $700 billion bailout plan?
You really don't want me to give my personal opinion about the politics behind it and the politicians, do you?
Right. No,
You really want me to?
Yeah,
The
in a
stock market
nutshell.
expected them to pass the bill. They fully expected because they said they have agreement. They said this was going to happen. When it didn't happen, when the stock market gets surprised, that's not a good thing. The stock market was surprised. Boom, crash we go.
Okay, you've been on our show almost week after week. We've asked you to come back every single time to explain things to us. And you know what? My mom right now is staying calm because she says, honey, that's Steve Peasley says to be calm every week. What's going on now? I mean, can you honestly turn around and tell all of us to stay calm? People that might not know all the nuts and bolts of how things are working?
Do you remember you were earlier when you opened the show with the guy in the car and stay calm because the guy's going to crash into you?
Yeah.
Stay calm.
Smile and wave, Shali. Don't
Smile and
We know what it is. You want me
That's
to smile
right.
and wave?
I lost 30 grand in the stock market yesterday.
What really happened? What really happened? The stock market gave back a lot of, came off. Everybody sold. Think of it this way, Shali. Everybody sold what they wanted out. Everybody's out who wants out.
Right.
There are very little people left to sell. What does that mean going forward?
That there's going to be a lot of people buying.
That's because the sellers are gone. So now the buyers are there. I think this is a great opportunity.
So this could be a turn in our economy.
No.
Oh.
See, you have to separate the stock market from the economy.
Okay.
The economy, because of what they didn't do, may fall into recession.
May?
Well,
Aren't
not
we
in
already in one?
Well, if you define the legal definition of recession is 2 quarters in a row of negative GDP. Now, of course, if you're a builder, you're in a recession. If you're anywhere in the building, but we haven't had one in a row yet. Now, this will probably be the first one we're in now, the negative GDP, maybe minus 0.6%. Then next quarter, we're probably going to have another one. So we probably will be. You could say, when you look back, you'll say, yeah, we started our recession in this quarter.
Let me ask you this. A lot of folks are saying what went wrong was the lack of regulation, the deregulation in the mid-decade. What's your view on that? Does Congress and the executive branch need to start to re-regulate? Because there was this big push with the executive branch, George Bush, saying, oh, let's deregulate, and look what happened.
We have plenty of regulation. There wasn't the regulation, it was the lack of enforcement of the regulations. And everybody, there's plenty of blame to go along here. First, we start off with the person who says, yeah, I make $150,000 a year. Yeah, on that application for that loan when they didn't. Liar loans. Then the broker supported that. Sure, okay, yeah, I believe that. Then the bank, then Freddie Mae, Fannie Mac, no one cared. Wall Street, no one cared, as long as it kept going. But when you say deregulation, you have to think about, well, who's in charge of all this stuff? You know, and we've had a Democratic Congress for 3 or 4 years.
No, 2 years.
2 years.
But the deregulation happened in the mid-decade, and that's an executive branch event, not a congressional.
A lot of people, we can all look backwards and see what we did, and obviously we're going to hopefully that something else like this doesn't happen again. But a lot of people are wondering, your normal average person, what's happening to me now? What is my future going to look like? So we actually went out to the streets yesterday, Steve, and asked some people in Orange County to ask you a question. So let's take our first one.
Sure.
I'd be interested to find out what the ramifications are of the current situation, depending on what kind of bills or measures get passed in order for them to rectify the situation.
What we have here is the banks freezing up. They don't want to make loans to anybody, no matter how good you are. How's this going to affect you and me and the person on the street is really the question, because so far it hasn't affected us, really. Really, it hasn't, except if you want to go buy a house, you'll find that restrictions, you know, there's a lot tighter now. But what happens if I own a company and I can't get financing for my supplies that I buy to build my widgets that I sell? What if I can't get that? Because I haven't got my receipts yet from what I sold before.
Right.
I can't get that. I have to lay off people, don't I?
Yeah.
I have to. That's what we're dealing with. It will start affecting every person if they don't do something.
You're just loaded, aren't you? That's how you're so calm.
No one's loaded these days.
I got millions.
No one's
Gonna go on that show and say,
I will say this. I have 50% of my money in cash.
That's
And all my clients the same.
Yeah.
So, you know,
Smart man. That's why we have you back every
a
week.
ride on Steve Peasley's Learjet. You can contact him. He's the KPB financial advisor. Check
President,
him out.
KPB.
President. And you can check him out at investtalk.com. Steve, you can be back here next Thursday. You have a question for him, you can email us, ask him a question, news@kdoc.tv.